Timeline of probability and statistics. The following is a timeline of probability and statistics. Before 1600, 4th century BC, see Raju K. CHTTP. This work of Raju brings forth a complete list of documents and workers in India who deliberated on the probability. 8th century Al-Khalil, an Arab mathematician studying cryptology, wrote the Book of Cryptographic Messages. The work has been lost, but based on the reports of later authors, it contained the first use of permutations and combinations to list all possible Arabic words with and without vowels. 9th century Al-Kindi was the first to use frequency analysis. He wrote a book entitled Manuscript on Deciphering Cryptographic Messages, containing detailed discussions on statistics and cryptanalysis. Al-Kindi also made the earliest known use of statistical inference. 13th century, an important contribution of Ibn Adlan was on sample size for use of frequency analysis. 13th century, the first known calculation of the probability for throwing 3 dice is published in the Latin poem De Vetula. 1560s, published 1663, Cardano's Liber de Ludo Ali attempts to calculate probabilities of dice throws. He demonstrates the efficacy of defining odds as the ratio of favorable to unfavorable outcomes, which implies that the probability of an event is given by the ratio of favorable outcomes to the total number of possible outcomes. 1577, Bartolome de Medina defends probabilism, the view that in ethics one may follow a probable opinion, even if the opposite is more probable. 17th century. 1654, Pascal and Fermat create the mathematical theory of probability. 1657, Huygens' De Ratiociniis in Ludo Ali is the first book on mathematical probability. 1662, Grant's Natural and Political Observations made upon the Bills of Mortality makes inferences from statistical data on deaths in London. 1666, in Le Journal des Sçavans, Roman 31, 2 August 1666, 359-370 equals 364, appears a review of the 3rd edition 1665 of John Grant's observations on the Bills of Mortality. This review gives a summary of Plusier's reflections curieuses, of which the second are Grant's data on life expectancy. This review is used by Nicolaus Bernoulli in his De Usu Artis Conjectandi in Durs 1709. 1669, Christian Huygens and his brother Lodewijk discuss between August and December that year Grant's mortality table. Grant 1662, E62 in letters #1755. 1693, Halley prepares the first mortality tables statistically relating death rate to age. 18th century. 1710, Arbuthnot argues that the constancy of the ratio of male to female births is a sign of divine providence. 1713, posthumous publication of Jacob Bernoulli's Ars Conjectandi, containing the first derivation of a law of large numbers. 1724, Abraham de Moivre studies mortality statistics and the foundation of the theory of annuities in Annuities upon Lives. 1733, Abraham de Moivre introduces the normal distribution to approximate the binomial distribution in probability. 1739, Hume's Treatise of Human Nature argues that inductive reasoning is unjustified. 1761, Thomas Bayes proves Bayes' theorem. 1786, Playfair's Commercial and Political Atlas introduces graphs and bar charts of data. 19th century. 1801, Gauss predicts the orbit of Ceres using a line of best fit. 1805, Adrien Marie Legendre introduces the method of least squares for fitting a curve to a given set of observations. 1814, Laplace's Essai philosophique sur les probabilités defends a definition of probabilities in terms of equally possible cases, introduces generating functions and Laplace transforms, uses conjugate priors for exponential families, proves an early version of the Bernstein-von Mises theorem on the asymptotic irrelevance of prior distribution. 1835 Quetelet's treatise on man introduces social science statistics and the concept of the average man. 1866 Venn's logic of chance defends the frequency interpretation of probability. 1877-1883 Charles Sanders Peirce outlines frequentist statistics, emphasizing the use of objective randomization in experiments and in sampling. Peirce also invented an optimally designed experiment for regression. 1880 Field gives a mathematical analysis of Brownian motion, introduces the likelihood function, and invents cumulates. 1888 Galton introduces the concept of correlation. 1900 Bachelier analyzes stock price movements as a stochastic process. 20th century